Let's dig into this case a little more. Ambrosio Rodriguez is a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. Emily Campagno is a former federal attorney and former criminal defense attorney. Welcome to both of you. Ambrosio, to you first. I mean, you're a former prosecutor. If the police bring you a case and say, you know, this is what we've got, this is the information, what do you want to know about what happened here?
Well, my first impression is that this is probably an inside job. As a prosecutor, as a homicide prosecutor, I had a case very similar to this one. And the question becomes, what kind of evidence do they have? And from this case, we have the evidence that she lives in this grand estate. So the idea that this was a random murder, or maybe, you know, some kind of dope addict coming in to, you know, burglarize the place to get some money for dope, seems far-fetched. There are a lot of information that we have that leads me to believe that this might be an inside job. For example, I'm surprised that someone as wealthy as this family is not putting up their own reward in order to see if they can find information.
Yeah.
That's surprising. There's a reward of $2,500, which is nothing, from some kind of small group. Why aren't they doing their own investigation? These are people with unlimited resources. And maybe they know something that we don't know. And another thing that concerns me is the fact that we're dealing with a small town and they don't have the resources to do a full homicide investigation. To be in the homicide unit, either as a district attorney or as a police officer, it requires a certain level of accomplishment and being part of an elite. And I don't know if they have the resources in this small county to do that.
One of the things,
I'd like
Emily,
to know whether or not.
One of the things, Emily, that has disturbed local residents, I've been to North Salem, I mean, it's about as quiet and peaceful a place as you can imagine. And one of the things that is disturbing people there is that there is just so little information coming from the police. They think maybe they've got a killer living among them. I mean, what do you think of the way this investigation and the publicity around it is being handled?
I think it's being handled poorly. And to me, this illustrates the paramount and just the tremendous impactful nature that authorities' communication can play in these kind of cases, and especially in these kind of communities like you're talking about. The authorities' silence and their lack of information, that's just leading to increased fear and speculation in this community, and that fear is what leads to vigilante justice and hysteria and panic and things that can really poison a community. And I agree with those other points as well, that this suspect list it's short. No one murders a wealthy octogenarian without a motive, and 99 times out of 100, it's financial and it's a member of the family. And, you know, without jumping the gun here, this case reminds me of the Helene Pastor case in Monaco, in which it was virtually the same victim, unfortunately, and it ultimately was determined that it was a member of her family for money.
Let's get back to that reward, Ambrosio. What do you think that, I mean, if they cranked out a reward of, say, $50,000, what would that do? Who would it turn up?
Well, look, rewards work simply because criminals will talk about their crime. And if you're talking about the kind of some criminal who goes out there and would kill someone like this in order to get some money or financial advantage, he is going to talk about it.
But if it is an inside job, if it's somebody who knew her, somebody from the family, that's not your typical criminal who's out looking to score a meth hit or something like that.
Correct, but the fact that the family isn't putting up the money leads me to believe or to think that there's a reason why they're not doing it, right? In situations like this, in cases like this, we look at how the family reacts to the murder. And in this case, there's really been nothing coming from the family in terms of either public statements or using their unlimited resources to try to find someone. If they're not looking for someone, if they're not using their hundreds of millions of dollars to find the murderer of their mother, of their wife, of their grandmother, the question is, why aren't they?
Well, it is a good question, I suppose, Emily. I mean, might the police have said something to them like, don't offer a reward just yet, we're working on this, or we think we know who did it, something like that?
Right, that's always a possibility. But here, taking that a step further, this family is no stranger to high-profile scandal, frankly. So to me, these are seasoned public relations experts, you could say, and they at least have access to that. These sons and the members of that family have been embroiled in high-profile political affairs and things of that nature that they actually mentioned during the eulogy of, as they called her, St. Lois. So to me, the family really comes into this situation equipped to manage at least the communication around it. So regardless if the reward is something that they were urged not to do by the police, they could certainly take those measures of at least presenting this in a better managed way.
Well, we are still waiting to find the fire extinguisher, which police haven't officially said is the murder weapon, but it's something they seem to be very interested in. We'll keep our viewers updated. Emily Campagno, Ambrosio Rodriguez, thank you.